Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Now, one of the reasons I haven't been doing many videos in the mornings, as you can see, I'm not wearing a shirt. It's just too hot. At the moment, here at almost 2 a.m., it's 85 degrees here, which is 29, almost 30 degrees Celsius. And there's no air movement. It's just extremely warm. I've not experienced this before here in the Philippines, especially this time of morning. And it's just the way it is. I'm sorry, folks. I apologize for not having a shirt on, but it's just not comfortable. I just can't concentrate when I'm sweating. But anyway, topic of this video this morning. A lot of people are curious about what kind of transportation I have here in the Philippines. As you're well aware of, I've elected not to deal with a new vehicle. I bought this little van, the little minivan, Suzuki, commonly called a DA64V. It's an automatic with a turbocharger. And since it does have turbo, it's got the 4-speed automatic transmission. A non-turbo will have a 3-speed transmission. And I've been very happy with it. Now, I've not went into details of my current issue I've had, but I'll let you know. I had an overheating problem. Kept pushing the coolant out the reservoir tank. Now, I did inquire with a lot of different mechanics online, and everybody was pushing towards, oh, it needs a head gasket. Well, you guys know that I'm mechanically inclined. Well, I just couldn't believe it'd be a head gasket. It just didn't make sense. And I'll tell you why. I had no foaming in the oil, so there's no coolant going into the oil. I didn't have any white exhaust. I didn't have no loss of power. And setting running with the radiator cap off, watching no coolant circulate, there was no bubbling. So it made it very difficult for me to think there was a head gasket. And so, everything on the cooling system side has been replaced. I currently did a new thermostat. It's got a new radiator, new water pump, new hoses, new thermostat. But it kept pushing the coolant out the reservoir. Well, on this particular van, and I didn't replace it because, well, I put a new one on it a couple of years ago, there's a cap on the thermostat housing, which is very similar to a radiator cap. That's one item I hadn't replaced. The overheating problem, I'm getting back onto that part. I did not superheat it. I didn't run it to the engine was, when you pull off the side of the road, you're blowing steam and all that stuff. No. Once that light come on, I got off the road and allowed the engine to cool down before I added any coolant. So I didn't have those drastic overheating situations, because I know that would create a big problem. But anyway, locally there's no thermal cap, as they call it, the one that goes on the, over top the thermostat housing. getting tongue-tied when none available local. So I've ordered a new thermal cap and new radiator cap uh, uh, from Cebu, supplier Cebu. They're a pretty good size operation over there, so they got plenty of parts on hand. But in the meantime, I was scratching my head trying to figure this out. Now, when I changed the new cap before, put the new cap on it, I kept that original thermos cap, the one that came with the van, probably the one that put on it when it was new. So I went digging through my boxes, and there it was, with the thermostat that I had actually removed when we first got the van. So I took that thermal cap and I put it on that, removed the cap that was on it and put that old cap back on it. The reason I know it was the original one, it had black spray paint on it from where they painted the van, trying to rust proof it. So I put it on there. And I fired the vehicle up and made sure I purged the system of air and so forth. And let the thermostat open up. And kept topping it off, making sure everything's okay. I didn't see any bubbles, and the little line going to the reservoir tank, I reached over and grabbed hold of it. It cool as a cucumber. Where before it was always hot. So the next day, Grace and I took it on a little test drive. No issues, no overheating, no pushing it out the reservoir. And of course, the following day, we took it to San Carlos and back. No issues, no overheating. When I got home, I let it cool down and I checked the coolant. And since I couldn't see it the way the radiator is designed, it's hard to look straight down into it and see anything, especially with my eyesight. So I decided to add a little coolant to it. Now this is a fairly large cup. If I was to pour the coolant in here, the amount it would take, probably about that much, maybe a couple ounces, topped it off, which would be normal because you need the airspace for the radiator to function properly. About when it expands, it goes into the reservoir, then it cool down, it's supposed to pull it back out. So problem solved by keeping an old part. I still have the new ones on the way, waiting on them to arrive. And there's still another 3 or 4 days away. Now my intent now is to, those new parts, I'll put them in storage until I need them. So, another fix. And you know it's cheap, you know. Now people talk about these surplus vans, you know, issues and everything. This is typical normal maintenance. And you know, this could happen to brand new vehicles. Actually, we actually seen one beside the road. It looked like it was fairly new, with the hood up and steam rolling out of it. It couldn't have been more than a couple of years old by the looks of it, appearance of the vehicle. It was a pickup. And when we drove by it, I told Grace, I said, see, that's almost a new vehicle by the appearance of it. And matter of fact, it had full registration on the plates, so it was fairly new. Of course, sure, that doesn't mean much because the plate's not been available for years. So, far as dependability of these little vehicles, if you maintain them, they're great. Now if you're 6'2", 6'5", or taller, it'd be kind of hard to recommend one. There's just not enough leg room. For me, it's not a problem because I'm only 5'11". I used to be 6 foot at one time. That's what happens. When you get a little older, you get shorter. But I have no issues with it because, the seat slides back far enough for me to have plenty of leg room. So, and drivability, and what I like about the vehicles mainly is that if you do have any issues, it's cheap. You can get parts that are available. You might have to do a little research and order them, but you can basically get anything you need for it. When I first got it, when parts availability was a little less, but now you can get about anything you want. And I'm not making a payment. I'm not paying the big insurance for full coverage insurance, and I'm not making any payments. That's what I like. New sounds good, and it'd be nice to have. But when you get older, you don't want to leave a payment on the other half if something was to happen. I hope nothing happens, but I just couldn't. It's just hard for me to live with the thought that I leave Grace with something that she'd have to sell or be repoed or whatever, because it was something I wished I had or desired to have over my bounds. I have seen this happen several times. I had a friend pass away a couple of years ago. Bought a brand new Toyota. 2 months later, he passed away, and his wife had to sell the car. Fortunately, he paid enough down and everything that she could sell and get out of debt. That's something I don't want Grace to have to deal with. I wouldn't want that. But that's life, and that's the way things are. And for those that have watched my video up to now, I appreciate you. Thanks to all my new subscribers. And yes, I broke that 1,000 mark. But I still need them watch time hours. So if you don't mind, of course, if you watched it now, you watched most of the video. So I thank you very much. Until next time, I'll update you what's going on.